There is a saying that all men are equal. Men meaning all humans are equal, like all people. And then George Orwell goes on to say, but some men are more equal than others. So it's like that. Everybody is not equal. So this galat fahmi in Hindi, this misconception we should remove. Everybody is not equal. Actually, everybody is certainly unequal. That much we can definitively say, that no two entities are equal, except नारायण परम धर्म, भगवान ही धर्म है. रामो विग्रहवान धर्म, भगवान ही धर्म है. धर्म का गुण की अनुसंधान भी धर्म ही है, और धर्म का पालन करो. धर्म के पालन से ही धर्म की प्राप्ति होती है. कृष्णम धर्मम सनातनम, वही सनातन धर्म है. तो बिकॉज एवरीथिंग दैट वी ऑब्जर्व, वी डोंट ऑब्जर्व आउटसाइड, वी ऑब्जर्व इन हियर. So if we want to observe Bhagavan also, it is an outcome of the perception of our mind only. But then our Shastra goes ahead and says that in the absence of the perception of the mind, this Atman does not fade away. Unlike the rest of the world, which may or may not fade away as and how we see it. And in that same way, Bhagavan also doesn't fade away, because Nityatvam Sarvakalavartitvam. Forever existing entity cannot fade away in a system and a framework. Regardless of any framework, that entity will remain as is. Lokacharyaya Gurave Krishna Padasya Sunave Sansara Bhogi Sandrashta Jiva Jivatave Namaha Yunitya Badam Vajayugma Rukma Vyamohatasta Ditarani Drinaya Mene Asmat Gurur Bhagavatos Siddhiyeka Sindho Ramanujasya Charanam Sharanam Prapadye Kaudinyavam Savarvari Dhipurna Chandram Srimat Parankushabadam Majabringa Rajam Angari Deshikabdapta Shideshikatvam Sri Ramakrishna Guruvar Yamaham Prapadye.
श्रीमती अतीन्द्रवर योगी पदाब्जभृंगम श्री वाणशैल मुनिवर्य दयकपात्रम विज्ञान वेद शिखरोद्भव तत्वबोध्यम रामानुजम कलिजित मुनिमाश्रयामः श्रीमच्छटार्यत राज कृपावलंबम सौम्योपयंत्र गगनाद्रि मुनीन्द्र भक्तम वेदांत युग्म विशदीकरण प्रवीणम रामानुजम यतिवरम गुरुमाश्रयामः. अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः.
अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः. अस्मत्परमगुरुभ्यो नमः. अस्मत्सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः. श्रीमते रामानुजाय नमः. तो from last session we were discussing different gunas, and I had explained to you why we discuss gunas, attributes. What are gunas and what are these attributes, and each attributes having some correlation with the quality of a human being. Therefore Bhagavan is accessible by everybody. If an entity is accessible by everybody but he has a singular quality, then the limitations, that singular quality becomes a limitation of for his attainment. If I want a blue ball and I see a blue ball, but my brother wants a green ball, there is only one ball now, that is blue. The ball cannot be both blue and green at the same time, except we are standing on opposite ends and one half of it is blue, the other half of it is green. But let's say the third person comes, he wants a yellow ball. Now you have to in a triangular area where one person is standing on one end, the other standing on the other end, and the other like a triangle, each of them looking at one part of the face of the ball and saying one blue, green and yellow. Up till here, one entity can metamorphose into maybe 3 parts, 4 parts, maybe 5 parts, if you look at it in the 3D model. But the more you increase, every entity can see more and more of that face. So he sees other colors as well. But I am only interested in one color. So I will know that this is not just a blue ball, it is a multicolored ball from where I stand. Then that ball will not be accessible to me. Because for it to be accessible to me, I would need the feeling that I want to attain this ball. So if Bhagavan has just one color or one shape or one form or one quality, then that is a limitation to his attainment. And therefore, Bhagavana has multiple gunas. So that when I want a blue ball, that Bhagavana comes as a blue ball to me. But when my brother wants a yellow ball, that same Bhagavana becomes yellow and goes to him. And each and every individual in this world wants Bhagavana in a way that is different from somebody else. Because every outcome of experience is an outcome of perception. And each perception is unique in its own way. Each perception is an outcome of a unique interpretation of the mind. Because everything that we observe, we don't observe outside, we observe in here. So if we want to observe Bhagavan also, it is an outcome of the perception of our mind only. But then our Shastra goes ahead and says that in the absence of the perception of the mind, this Atman does not fade away. Unlike the rest of the world, which may or may not fade away as and how we see it. And in that same way, Bhagavan also doesn't fade away, because Nityatvam Sarvakalavartitvam. Forever existing entity cannot fade away in a system and a framework. Regardless of any framework, that entity will remain as is. And that is another quality of Bhagavan. So each of these gunas that we discussed, and we will discuss slightly further, what quality of human being experiences what quality of Bhagavan. सो व्यक्ति किस गुण प्रति अनुसंधान करे, भगवान के किस गुण पर कौन सा व्यक्ति किस प्रकार से अनुसंधान करे, इस पर थोड़ा चर्चा करते हैं आज. What guna are we trying? What guna should what kind of person? What अनुसंधान करे, meaning contemplate upon, reminisce about. So ज्ञान गुण का अनुसंधान करते हैं पहले. ज्ञान गुण. What is ज्ञान? अज्ञानी क्या नहीं पूछता? What does an Ajnani does not ask? The first question he does not ask is, how do I meet Bhagavan? The second question he asks is, what is stopping me from meeting Bhagavan? That's the second question he doesn't ask. And the third question is, what is the solution to this blockade which is stopping me from meeting Bhagavan? So how do I meet Bhagavan is called sadhan. भगवान को प्राप्त करने का साधन क्या है? क्या तत्व हमें भगवान तक पहुंचने में एक विडंबना बन के बैठी है? भगवान को दुर्लभ क्या बना रही है? किस कारण से भगवान दुर्लभ है? प्रतिबंधक क्या है? So what is stopping us? That blockade is called pratibandhak. And how do we get over this pratibandhak? That is called nivritti. इसकी निवृत्ति क्या है? इस प्रकार के अज्ञानी जो ये प्रकार के प्रश्न नहीं पूछते, these अज्ञानी people who do not ask these specific kind of questions, they should reminisce on the guna of ज्ञान. ज्ञान गुण, भगवान के ज्ञान गुण को के प्रति अनुसंधान करना चाहिए, क्योंकि यह उनके लिए उपयोगी होगा. It will be useful for them. So, what does or what should or what can an Ajnani do? Or what does an Ajnani do? When the person meditates on the Jnana Guna of Bhagavan, we discussed what Jnana Guna is last time, so we will not get too deep into it. But Jnana Guna is the ability of Bhagavan to know everything at all points in time, every time. Nothing that he does not know, nothing is beyond him. So जब एक व्यक्ति ज्ञान गुण, अज्ञानी जैसे हम अज्ञानी ज्ञान गुण के प्रति अनुसंधान करते हैं, हमें यह चिंतन करना चाहिए कि भगवान को उनको प्राप्त करने का साधन ज्ञात है. Bhagavan knows the sadhan to attain him. Bhagavan knows the procedure to attain him. When somebody calls you and says, I want to meet, we need to have a chat, what should we do? The person who is asking to meet, requesting for a meeting, knows that the person who is asking to knows the way in which both of them can meet. So if somebody calls me and asks me and says we need to meet, I will either call him home, I'll say come to the kitchen, I'll say no, we'll meet somewhere outside, come to Starbucks or in the garden or something. हमें मिलने का जो साधन है हम स्वयं तय करते हैं. I decide by myself. Similarly, when we say I want to meet Bhagavan, Bhagavan knows how to meet. I don't know, but Bhagavan knows. So ज्ञान गुण जो अज्ञानी है उसको पता नहीं, उसको ज्ञात नहीं है कि किस प्रकार भगवान को प्राप्त करें. तो भगवान स्वयं साधन है, साधन जानते हैं. इस प्रकार उसको चिंतन करना चाहिए. उसको यह भी चिंतन करना चाहिए कि भगवान प्रतिबंधक को भी जानते हैं. कौन सा ऐसा चीज है जो मुझे भगवान को प्राप्त करने में एक प्रतिबंधक बन के बैठा है, बंधन बन के बैठा है. यह बंधन को कैसे काटें यह भी भगवान को ज्ञात है. और भगवान ऑल्सो नोज हाउ टू रिमूव दीज ऑब्स्टिकल्स. प्रतिबंधक के निवर्तक भी भगवान है, भगवान जानते हैं. Therefore, an agyani should not be worried. So he should say, I am not worried. हम अज्ञानी हैं, हम जानते हैं. हमारा एक ही ज्ञान है कि हम जानते हैं कि हम नहीं जानते. The one thing I know for certain is that I don't know. But the funny thing about an agyani who is a sadhak of Bhagavan knows two things, not one. He first knows that he does not know anything, but he also knows that Bhagavan knows everything. These two need to go hand in hand. If you know that you don't know, but don't know who knows, then how will you attain what is to be attained? Because you don't know what to attain. If you know who knows, except the fact that you don't know, then how will you attain it? Because you are never reaching out for it. So you must know that you don't know.
It's a conundrum, right? So although we call him an ajnani, he's a true jnani because he knows that he is an ajnani and he knows Bhagavan is a jnani.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He is the true jnani.
He is the true jnani, right? So how do you call him an ajnani?
So to be very fair, what it is trying to say is that जिस व्यक्ति को भगवान प्राप्त कैसे करते हैं वो नहीं जानते. जैसे हम अभी आचार्य के समूह जाके आचार्य के चरण कमल को से हम अपने जीवन को शुद्धिकरण करके जब वहां बैठते हैं, when we sit there, we serve our acharya. Our acharyas tell us शरणागति मार्ग प्रपत्ति मार्गम उत्तम मार्गम अस्ति. So he will say this is the marga. So now he has told us, now we are not agyani from this point of view. Now we know that this is the marga. Then Acharya also tells us that these are the things that are stopping you. Virodhi swarupam, swaswarup virodhi, paraswarup virodhi, upayaswarup virodhi. There are 5 virodhi swarupas like this. Artha Panchakam we'll discuss if we have time after. So we have Virodhi Swarupa. And what are the Nivartak of this Virodhi Swarupa also? Acharya tells us. Therefore we become Jnani. Momentarily. And वो भी सीमित है, ज्ञान सीमित है. उसके प्रति अहंकार उत्पन्न करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है. हम है तो अज्ञानी ही. परंतु उस दृष्टिकोण से हम थोड़ा सा तो ज्ञान है हमारे यहाँ. परंतु those people who are on the, let's say on the street, suddenly realize Bhagavan. And somebody comes to you and say, I'm 90 years old. I don't know Bhagavan. I don't know Krishna. So let's assume in the West. Yeah? I heard that Krishna solves all problems. Only path, one great and easy path to salvation is through Krishna. And I don't know how to attain Krishna. but I know you know about Krishna. I am 90 years old. In the next 2-3 years I will die. Who knows? What should I do? So you tell him, तुम अज्ञानी हो, अज्ञानी को यह गुण पे अनुसंधान करना चाहिए. Just understand that Bhagavan knows that you want him. Understand that Bhagavan knows the obstacles you are facing to attain him. And Bhagavan knows how those obstacles can be removed. And in the end, Bhagavan himself will remove these obstacles. So don't do anything, just think that Bhagavan knows. That's it. So इस प्रकार से हम विभिन्न गुण वाले व्यक्तियों को, मनुष्यों को धर्म, अथवा धर्म मतलब रिलीजन नहीं है यहाँ, धर्म मतलब धारयति इति, जो धारण करती है हमें भगवान, धर्म को पालन करने में एक सहयोगी बनती है. भगवान के गुण भगवान को पालन करने के लिए सहयोगी बनती है. धर्मो रक्षति रक्षितः. यही धर्म जिसकी हम रक्षा करना चाहते हैं वही हमारी रक्षा करती है. दिस धर्म नारायण परम धर्म, भगवान ही धर्म है. रामो विग्रहवान धर्म, भगवान ही धर्म है. धर्म का गुण की अनुसंधान भी धर्म ही है. और धर्म का पालन करो, धर्म के पालन से ही धर्म की प्राप्ति होती है. कृष्णम धर्मम सनातनम, वही सनातन धर्म है. तो सदैव भगवान के गुण का चिंतन करना चाहिए. परंतु हमारा जो स्मरण शक्ति है वो सीमित है. वी कैन ओनली डू सो मच. Therefore, we focus on one quality or two qualities and just focus on that. That is the idea. Yeah. So we needn't worry. भगवान ज्ञान गुण का अनुसंधान करने वाले साधक के प्रतिबंधक को दूर करते हैं. अपने प्राप्ति के उपाय स्वयं बन जाते हैं. Then he himself becomes the upaya for upaya and upaya. That which needs to be attained, that the way through which you attain, which needs to be attained as Paraswarupam, the way which needs to be attained as Acharya Swarupam. That's all. Through Vigraham, Archa Vigraham. So ज्ञान गुण का अनुसंधान अज्ञानी इस प्रकार करते हैं. और अज्ञानी का तात्पर्य इस दृष्टिकोण से यह है. शक्ति गुण का अनुसंधान कौन करता है? The sadhak considers Bhagavan to be the param prapya, the epitome of attainment. The person who is reminiscing, who is thinking about the Shakti guna of Bhagavan, understands Bhagavan to be the epitome of attainment, but considers himself unworthy or incapable of doing bhakti, unworthy, incapable of attaining. He knows Bhagavana is the param attainment, there is nothing beyond him. But he thinks that he does not have the capacity. He is unworthy to attain this entity called Bhagavana. For these people who think that Bhagavana is so great, great yogis attain, what will I do? For them, Shakti Gun becomes very useful. So what does the Shakti Guna, the people who are Shakti Gun के प्रति जो अनुसंधान करते हैं, वो पहला, what do they understand first? That सर्व शक्ति संपन्नम है भगवान. He has all the strengths, every strength that exists. It is because of him, it is his. They understand that aghatita ghatana patiyasi. Bhagavan has the potential to do that which cannot be done or otherwise deemed undoable is done by Bhagavan. Bhagavan, with one sankalpam, he can grant moksham. I don't have that Shakti, but that Shakti is there. And these are the gunas. This guna, the devotee reminisces about this. He keeps thinking about this. He observes this. इसके प्रति अनुसंधान करते हैं. And Bhagavan provides bhakti to these sadhakas through Shakti Guna expeditiously, right away. So when Bhagavan provides bhakti to these sadhakas, then they can reminisce about Bhagavan more. And more they reminisce, the closer they come until they unite with Bhagavan and Sriman Narayana. So if a devotee comes to you, comes to somebody and says, what should I do? I know Bhagavan needs to be attained, but I don't think I'm capable. I'm incapable of attaining. I'm not even worthy. I do all kinds of papam. Then you say, understand that he can do what others can't do. All the ananta koti papa that you have, he can remove it in an instant. So that is nothing for him. All the papam that you have done from eternity is nothing for him. It's a snap of a finger. He doesn't need to snap his finger. He barely needs to think about snapping fingers, and then all your papa will be removed. So reminisce about this. Think about this. Contemplate on the Shakti Guna of Bhagavan. दूसरा गुण है क्षमा गुण. क्षमा गुण का अनुसंधान कौन करता है? Who contemplates on the क्षमा guna of Bhagavan?
The exact opposite. The one who needs shama, basically the one who commits offenses.
Correct.
Mistakes.
जो निग्रह किया जाता है, दंडित किया जाता है, जिसको दंडित करना है, अपराधी को, somebody who has committed some offenses and he knows he has committed. If he doesn't know he has committed, then in his own eyes he is not an aparadhi. You see. So there also there is some level of jnana is important, that you know that you have done something wrong. And just a little off topic, but that's what I've observed in the proximity of Bharatavarsha and in the distance from Bharatavarsha. The difference is that, for instance, my family and where I come from Sikkim, in the mountains, people eat meat. So earlier they wouldn't eat chicken. Chicken is considered very dirty. Mutton, on the other hand, they eat. They won't eat onion and garlic, but they will still eat mutton. Brahman and Kshatris will eat in the mountains. These are two communities in Nepal. Nepali community. There are other tribal communities as well. And a lot of the these what they are called khas community. Brahmins and Kshatris are called khas in that area. So this community slowly have come out of eating meat. Many of them. Kshatris eat still. Brahmins come out and nowadays they also eat. But in their mind, they know what they're doing is wrong and they continue. So they say, हम गलत कर रहे हैं, हमें गलती कर रहे हैं, we are doing something wrong. But I'm still doing it in the hope that in that knowledge, slowly with time, it'll repeat in his mind that something is wrong, and in time he will leave it. Because the moment you know what you're doing is wrong, you're already in a direction of improvement. Because the knowledge is important. If you don't know if it is wrong, then there is no movement towards improvement. On the other hand, unless and until people, here I see a lot of friends, unless you really have a discussion with them and point out the reasons why consumption may not be the best idea for you at this moment in time, they are under the impression that it is okay, it's the right thing to do. Then that improvement will not come. This meat eating is just an example. But to explain that this Chama Gun will be applicable to those who are already under the impression that they have committed something which is not correct, which is wrong. Aparad kiya hai.
But it all goes back to the fundamental that I have on all of these, right? For people to concentrate on Bhagavana with those particular gunas, they should understand themselves where their weakness is. Tap on the strength of the Lord. Basically, that's what we're asking, right? He's got different strengths. For you to tap on that particular strength, you should know where your weakness is. If you don't, then you will not be able to. If for a person who thinks who has not committed an offense, he's not going to think about the Shama Guna of the Lord. Right? So how do you, it's not our job to help everybody in that sense, because we are not going to go looking for people to help. But how does that, for me, if they already understand that they have made an offense and they are going to start contemplating on the Lord for a Shamaguna, then they're already on the path. Correct? So, and that also happens because of his own sankalpam only. Otherwise, it does not happen. That also we understand. Although I keep saying that we have to take the first step towards the Lord so that he can take 1,000 steps. But even that first step for us to take, it has to be through his sankalpam only. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Yes, Bhagavan says that he will push us into taking. That's what Nirhetu Kripa is. But this is a very tricky thing because it is an outcome of his sankalpam at some place. But the reason the Jivatma is Baddha or is because of the sankalpam of the Jivatma.
Correct.
Because if you say it is the sankalpam of Paramatma, then there is a Nairgrani Aparadha, there is a concept.
Right.
So therefore, the reason why the Jivatma is Vimukha from Paramatma, is away from Paramatma, is because of the sankalpam not of Paramatma, but of Jivatma. So Jivatma does have independent sankalpam, which is independent of Paramatma. That is the only way we can establish our state of poor affairs.
Correct.
So if a person who commits, let's say, and for instance, people know that eating meat is increasing himsa. And eating meat is not wrong or right. I'm not commenting on that. I don't want to mention these things on tape because people will misunderstand and then everybody will eat meat and it will not be good for them. So I don't want to mention these things. But I'm just saying that taking this as an example, it does increase tamas in the body. It is true. Except when there is a bali that is being performed, that tamas is an aid to increasing sattva guna within the body for those few people who just can't do without meat. So, you see, so because people are so different, there are a group of people who have a lot of rajas in their body or tamas within their body. Because of this raja guna and tamo guna, that sattva guna is not able to evolve. So Shastra is so benevolent. Shastra has a method to cope with these kind of people also. So what the Bhagavan, in the Vedam, what Bhagavan, the Shastra Bhagavan, what the Veda Bhagavan does is, says, okay, you eat only these kind of meat. Others you don't eat. 5 specific kinds of meats you eat. It has to be killed in a certain way through as an outcome of a yajnam performed for certain either Bhagavan or deity. An outcome of that, you can kill one depending on how it has been interpreted. In this way, this Jivatma which has been killed will go to Swargaloka straight away because of the Shastra Pramana. And that meat which has been offered, because it has been offered, it becomes sattvic. And this sattva guna within the tamo guna will increase the sattva guna. You will realize that for one plate of meat, how long will that meat last? One plate, because you have to distribute it to everybody who is there in that yajna. Takes you a week of yajna to have meat once a week, and it's not easy to do all these yajnas. And so slowly he realizes that what's the point? Just for those few seconds in the mouth, and the sattva guna slowly increases. So Shastra finds a way and allows for certain, like mrigaya and so on. Kshatriyas, it's a Kshatriya dharma to do mrigaya. Mrigaya means hunting. So Bhagavan Sri Ram used to go for hunting. He never ate. Lakshman never did hunting. He only went with Rama. Not for hunting, to protect Rama. Not that he needed it, but he just couldn't leave Bhagavan. After he did this hunting, he would come back home. And hunting, mrigaya doesn't refer to deer actually. Hunting has to be done when there are man-eating tigers and so on, which are destroying crops and so on. There are certain specifications. That's when the king, the Kshatriya Kula, has to go and kill. That's their responsibility. And so he comes back to Dasharatha and then he asks, Pita, have I done it correctly? Have I performed any adharma by doing it like this? Is everything all right? Is everything under the purview of dharma? And so on and so forth. So, and then Dasharatha says, yes, everything that you have performed is in accordance to dharma. Nothing that you have performed is not in accordance to dharma. And so on and so forth. So, as long as we are under the purview of dharma, it is not aparadha. Here, aparadha is when it is not in the purview of dharma. It is shastra viruddham. And we know most of our actions in today's day and age is shastra viruddham. From the moment we wake up until the moment we sleep. And I'm sure even in sleep there's something shastra viruddham happening. So, how do we come out of this? Because in a Kali Yugam and the day and age that we are born in, there is a limitation to our knowledge base as to how we should behave, how we should perform, what actions are worth performing, what actions aren't, what should we abstain from, what we should not. So we know that we are all aparadhi. Because of this, just for this time frame. In essence, let me give you an example. Some of us might think that what aparadha have I done? I do my job on time and so on and so on. But for instance, your cup that you drink, I always use the cup for some reason. It's always here, some cup. So it comes to me. We drink from the same cup that has been used by somebody else. Now that is ashuddham. Shastra doesn't permit that kind of usage. With the same vessel cannot be used by two people. Patra, for instance. We must sit on the ground while eating. We must wear a dhoti or covering, depends on the male and female. Pavitra vastram has to be worn. Kaupin has to be worn. The upper body has to be cannot be covered for a male while eating. He should sit on the ground and forward. The food should not touch the body. The platform that you are sitting on cannot be shared by another. If somebody walking touches that platform, that food is ashuddham, that cannot be consumed anymore. If the vessel that you are eating from, you are serving from, touches the plate that you are eating from, that vessel is not pure now. That is again ashuddham, cannot be consumed. You have to do shuddhikaran for it. You see, there are so many things that we don't do. I mean, thinking about these things, it sounds a lot. Oh my God, how can we? But it's very easy once you bring it to practice. Everything that you do today in day and age is an outcome of practice only. Now it's become easy for you. But according to Shastra, this is ashuddham. How we should cut your hair and your beard and your mush has to be cut at the same time. You cannot shave and leave the hair. That is not permitted by Shastra. You see, I'm just giving you the tidbits of how we are aparadhi. Any other example? Yeah, shower while bathing. We need to have 3 layers of clothes while bathing. वरुण देवता को अपमानित होते हैं करके कृष्ण भगवान भी कहते हैं, गोपिका को वही सिखाते हैं भगवान. So we need to have 3 layers of clothes while bathing. Any clothes that are worn by our sadhaka, meaning who is a Vedic, those vastra cannot, if they have to be removed from the bottom of the body or the top of the body, cannot be worn. For instance, pants are ashuddham, they cannot be worn because you have to remove it from the bottom necessarily. It has to touch the bottom part of the feet. Shastra says that any clothes that is necessarily needing to touch the bottom part of the feet cannot be worn or the top of the head. Therefore, we wear chauban, the kind of clothes we wear. So you open the thread and you open it outwards. Even the clothes at the bottom. Kaupin can be removed from the side. Dhoti also be removed from the side. That is pavitra vastram that can be worn. Other clothes cannot be worn. These simple things. After we cut our hair, we must, after we cut our hair, we cannot come back into the house without bathing. But all our toilets and bathrooms are inside the house. That house is apavitra now. After we cut, we bathe outside, come back in, change our thread. If we cut our nails, we must brush first, then bathe. If we bathe and brush, we must bathe again. So there are so many rules. And every moment we are aparadhis. Every kshana we are aparadhi. So we reduce the aparadha by learning one after the other what we should do, and we try and imbibe it within our lives. And whatever we can't, we do. Ritam cha satyam cha abhiddha tapaso jayata. We remove. Agamarshana mantra we do say in the morning. Gayatri we say. All these mantras, we are removing all the papam that we accrue within ourselves every day through Sandhya Vandhanam in any form. And Sharanagat, they don't worry about these things because they are surrendered to Bhagavan. So it's attributed to Bhagavan, whatever we do or not do. As long as we do what is necessary for this jiva. So we are aparadhi. We must, people who, if watch, apparently some people are watching these videos. I got a mail the other day. He said that I have reached the 13th video, but it appears as if this series is not over. Where do I find the rest of the videos? So the first question it struck my head is, there is a person apart from the both of you who has reached the 13th video.
Which is good. Isn't that the purpose?
Yeah, that was the purpose, but I didn't think the purpose was met. So,
Well, even if it's one other person, I think we've done our job, right?
I was very happy. I was like, it has not gone in vain. These videos.
He will not so. It will not go in vain because he will not let it go in vain. Because it is right. It's not our job.
Yeah.
His job, he has to take care of his honor, not our job.
Absolutely. I was shocked. I got a mail. Somebody is watching Trayam videos. I was very happy. It was like at least somebody is getting some benefit from the hours of editing that I've been doing. So anyway, so therefore, the aparadha that we have is unimaginable and various levels. Every moment, even the mantras that we say are ashuddham. Many of them.
Every one of them, not so many, every one of them.
Maybe.
I'm guaranteeing myself. Every one of them is wrong.
To be very honest with you, the many people I meet here, I have met some people who Vipra they are, Dvija Jati. They have gotten, they're married, so I assume that they have Janev. I give them now because nowadays they don't wear. So I started giving them. They wear and then they're doing their Gayatri. And even the people who do Gayatri, because any other mantra, I am not authority to give. So whatever they already have, I ask them how they pronounce the Gayatri mantra and all of them get it wrong. No pranava samputam they do. Even the ucharanam is incorrect. So the question is, will that negatively affect us or not? The grace of Bhagavan Sriman Narayana, this is Kali Yugam. So this is only specific for Vedic mantra and Pauranic mantra, not for Tantric mantra. That's the reason why Tantra is difficult. Because if you pronounce it incorrectly, it will give you the Viparita benefits, whatever it is. But not the same case for Vedic mantras. Vedic mantra is essentially Vedic only, but because Puranas are Vedangas, we sometimes refer to them as mantra as well. Koti vipra vada lagahi jahu, aaye sarana tajahu nahi tahu. Koti vipra. We have vipra referring to a Brahmana, because Bhagavan Sri Ram had great reverence for Brahmana. He says it himself in many shlokas throughout Ramayana, the importance of Brahmana. So he there refers to why Bhagavan Sri Ram has Ashirvadam of the Brahmanas, and therefore he is who he is, he says. trying to bring out the importance of that that pada, which is Brahman. Not just being born in that kula, but to hold that kula so that the future generations are also holding the lamp and the lantern of that kula. The Brahma Teja has to be there from within. That comes from that level of Brahma Gayatri that we do. Apart from the other mantras, the Brahma Gayatri is the Teja that is there within the Brahmana. And like the Kshatriya, the Kshatra Teja, and so on and so forth. The Brahma Teja is so important. So, because of this and some other reasons, one of the greatest aparadha, papa, mahapapa, is the Brahma Hatya. Brahma Hatya, of course, referring to the Hatya of Brahmana. But here Brahma Hatya also refers to the Hatya Vipra, ज्ञानी पुरुष. ज्ञानी का तात्पर्य क्या है? जो भगवान के हैं उनको भी ज्ञानी कहा गया. जो अपने कर्तव्य का पालन करते हैं वो तो ज्ञानी हैं ही, तो कर्तव्य का पालन करने वाले को भी विप्र कहा गया है. वो भी ब्रह्म हत्या के अनुकूल अतिरिक्त आते हैं. तो अगर somebody is performing their duties, Vedic karma, diligently, and you kill them, that you will get Brahma Hatya there also. Bhagavan says Hitler can also attain moksham. That's what he's saying. Koti viprah vadalagahi jahu, I saranata jahu nahi tahu. Even if you have killed, कोटि मीन्स करोड़ों ब्राह्मणों का भी हत्या किया हो तुमने, मेरे शरण में आ जाओ, तुम मेरे साथ ही रहो. ये है ये गुण का. कोटि विप्र, दिस इज इन तुलसीदास रामायण. कोटि विप्र वध लागहि जाहूं, आए शरण तजऊ नहीं ताहूं. सनमुख होई जीव मोहि जबहि, जन्म कोटि अघना सहि तबहि. पापवंत कर सहज सुभाऊ, भजनु मोर तेहि भाव न काऊ. जौ पै दुष्ट हृदय सोई होई, मोरे सनमुख आवकी सोई. It goes like this. He's basically saying that anybody just come to me. Don't worry. I'm here. I will not abandon even the Brahma Hatyas. You take refuge in me. Don't have any fear. For these sinners, for these people who perform so many papas, the Kshama Guna is very upayogi. Shamatvam, yoga uchyate, that is different. But yoga is what? Samatvam yoga uchyate. It is not Kshamatvam. I made a mistake. Samatvam yoga uchyate. That is different from Kshamatvam. Please don't misquote me somewhere. I'll get into trouble. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Being in a state of equanimity is a state of yoga. That's what yoga refers to. Bhagavan Sri Krishna says it. This is in Bhagavad Gita. Samatvam yoga uchyate, not Kshamatvam. Here this is Kshama guna. Now कृपा गुण किसके लिए कौन अनुसंधान करना चाहिए? This is also called कारुण्य or दया. Kripa guna is also called Karunya guna or Daya guna. This guna is for those who are depressed, sad. So everybody who comes to you not happy and jolly, comes sad also sometimes, a little off. The sadhaka here understands that Bhagavan is always eager to remove his dukha, and his devotees without any selfish motives. For instance, we do things for others, maybe for their benefit, and we may see some benefit for ourselves as well. And we may not necessary. We may not. And but in general, even the most dharmic of people, Sanatani, will also think of benefit for themselves in the form of karma. So at least, if nothing else, at least good karma. Getting over that, only those mantas and santas and all, we have that. Some people are there who will do anything without that motive. It is there, people are there, multitudes of people. So there are people who do selflessly, but their capacity is limited. You can only do so much. तो ये जो दुखी हैं, पीड़ित हैं, शोषित हैं, इनके लिए भी भगवान ही उपयोगी हैं. भगवान हमारे दुखों का निवारण करेंगे. भगवान will remove this pain and misery from our lives. With that you will भगवान के कृपा गुण के प्रति अनुसंधान करो. भगवान very benevolent. This benevolence, the epitome of benevolence is this embodiment that I am consistently reminiscing about, contemplating about. Therefore, if we surrender upon him, he will surely take care of all the pain and grant us unparalleled happiness. And what is unparalleled happiness? Himself. Because everything else is paralleled. So there is only one thing that is unparalleled is he himself. Because that is ekam sat vipraha. Ekam sat, that sat only. There is that one truth. That is Bhagavan. Everything else is, it's not Dvaita, it's Advaitam. Vishishta Advaitam. There is no two. To be very fair with you, even in Advaitam, there is only one Bhagavan. The Bheda is there. Jivatma Paramatma, Jivatma Jivatma, Jivatma Prakriti, Paramatma Prakriti. There are 5 Bhedas, right? And difference between Prakriti. So the 5 Bhedas. You are aware of Bheda Shruti, right? Dvait Siddhanta?
We have discussed that before, yeah.
Have we discussed? It is very simple, right? So Madhvacharya is saying is basically the same thing as Ramanujacharya in similar way. He is what you may call a little kathor. Bluntly put it. He also says that Jivatma can never become Paramatma. Which is also true because even in Vishishta Advaitam, Jivatma never becomes Paramatma. He only becomes similar to. There is differences. Certain things that Jivatma will never be able to do, right? So Bhagavan will grant us unparalleled happiness. दोषी प्राणियों के लिए वात्सल्य गुण का ही अनुसंधान करना चाहिए. वात्सल्य गुण. Here a person understands that Bhagavan will not concentrate on my flaws and will certainly accept me. Therefore, I do not need to be away from him. If I were to be away from him, then there is nobody who is taking care of me. Just I don't need to be away from him. I just need to be near him all the time. That's what he thinks. Vatsalya guna. सौशील्य गुण का अनुसंधान किसको करना चाहिए? शील गुण का अनुसंधान. नीच मंद व्यक्ति को. So person who is there is a saying that all men are equal. Men meaning all humans are equal, like all people. And then George Orwell goes on to say, but some men are more equal than others. So it's like that. Everybody is not equal. So this galat fahmi in Hindi, this misconception we should remove. Everybody is not equal. Actually, everybody is certainly unequal. That much we can definitively say. That no two entities are equal. Except two Nitya Suris, they may be almost identical. Two different Nitya Suris. Because even two Jivatmas differ from the amount of karma that is around them. You see. So two people are not equal. We come with the permutation and combinations are so vast that two people, even twins, are different. They are not the same. They are similar, but not the same. Then they may be closer to equality, but they are not equal. None of us are equal. Nor men, nor women, nor others, whatever it is. So we are not equal. Some from a frame of reference are better than others. How so? Let's look at one frame of reference. This world, this earth is dying. Global warming is what we understand. This frame of reference, whether it is true or not is up to the listener. Global warming is happening from the point of view of the person who's speaking. Because we see that it's getting hotter, our climates are getting hotter, the rain patterns are changing back home. You know, it was supposed 15, 20 days later we are getting rains nowadays. Our crops are drying out, and then they're getting wet, and then they rot because the rain came too late and then it stayed too long. So many things. There are multitudes of factors here. In global warming, in the framework of global warming, a person who is living off the land, he plants trees, he eats, he doesn't consume a lot of these plastic laden products and so on, lives at home, lives a simple life. Carbon footprint is basically negative. And there is another person whose carbon footprint is millions and millions of kilotons. That person who is living in that hut, whose carbon footprint is negative, is certainly better than the other one, right? They are different. So somebody is better than other. कोई उच्च है, कोई नीच है. जो नीच है उसको नीच ही कहना चाहिए. पातक ही नीचे होते हैं. A person who commits murder of women and children are called pataki. Their only way, they should not have human rights. Human rights is for human beings. They have transcended that level of humanity. So they are नीच. So नीच मंद व्यक्तियों के लिए भी भगवान की शील गुण, सौशील्य गुण का अनुसंधान उपयोगी है. Here the bhakta understands that even though Bhagavana is the greatest, he loves spending time with the smallest of people, like us, like me, the worst of people, and helping them because he loves doing it. That is Saushilya Guna, Sheela Guna. Like Bhagavan became a Sarthi. He became a Duta for the Pandavas. How does a Duta go? Like a messenger, put his hand up, stick the tongue out, and hook the letter on the tongue as you enter the kingdom. That's how you're supposed to enter. Duta has to do that. So it is a very it's a discriminating process, because you have to essentially understand that you cannot you are going into a foreign territory, so you can't carry weapons. What are you, so on and so forth. So you have to wear a certain kind of dress, you have to stick your tongue out, there are certain norms. Bhagavana did that for the Pandavas. You see, allowed Yashoda Mata to tie him, to hit him, played with the gopis and the children there. So he had all of that. He could be the smallest of the small. Here devotees understand that manasa vacha karmana, हम कुटिल, मन से भी हम तुच्छ हैं, कर्म से भी हम तुच्छ हैं, हमारी बोली भी तुच्छ है. हम कुटिल हैं, परंतु मेरे स्वामी मन से भी, वाक से भी, कर्म से भी सरल है. He is the best. Because I am the worst, there is an entity which is the best. Therefore, मेरे हितेशी वही हैं. हितेशी, हित करने वाला. He is the only one who is always thinking good about me. He always wants me to be the best of myself. He will remove all these devious. Kutil matlab devious. If people are devious, sometimes we do devious things as well. So हमारे अंदर भी कुटिलपना होता है कोई ना कोई अल्प संख्या में. So he removes all of this and हमें blemishless बनाते हैं, निर्मल बनाते हैं. निर्मला स्फटिकाकृतिम, भगवान हमें वैसे बनाते हैं. How much time? 2 more minutes at least. Are you getting late for something? Getting late?
Yeah, fine.
10 minutes. All right, we'll be good for another half an hour.
You sure?
Yeah, we'll be good for another half an hour. I know it's 10 o'clock for you.
It's okay. Let me finish this at least Sauharda Guna, and there is more. I have a lot more to cover. I don't know. It's okay. It's good. At least we are going through something. सौहार्द गुण का अनुसंधान कौन करता है? दुष्ट हृदय वाला. Somebody who is always thinking ill of somebody else. Something good happens to them also. ये इसको क्यों अच्छा हुआ, इसको तो बुरा होना था, अथवा इत्यादि. Here the person understands that I don't want goodness for anyone. भगवान हमारा मंगल ही चाहते हैं. भगवान only wants good thing for me. Therefore, he will make sure that everything I get is positive only. And he will change my mind also. Some people, they know that they always have these irsha, dvesha, jealousy, and they have it. Now, they want to not have it, but they still have it. You see, there are a good number of people like that. And not everybody has jealousy about everything. There are certain things they are jealous of something and may not have. So what they do is they think about Bhagavan, Suharda Guna. Bhagavan has good heart. My heart is not good. Bhagavan, please clear my heart and make it good. Essentially, that is it. So even for these people, Bhagavan has a guna for everyone. So hence, I should not remain away from him. The devotee thinks that Bhagavan always wants good thing for me. My heart is so evil that if I am with anybody else, that evil is going to rub off on them. All I need to be with is Bhagavan. So all the goodness comes to me. With all his divya qualities, he will only improve me. That is his Sauharda Guna. And those who do not want to be away from Bhagavan for even a moment, the best guna for them is the Mahardava Guna. Even for a moment, they'll be like, if I'm away from Bhagavan for a moment, they'll start feeling scared. What has happened to me? Oh Lord, oh, what has happened? What is this? For them, Mahardava Guna. They're scared to be away from Bhagavan. They should understand that Bhagavan doesn't like to be away from his devotees either. Just like you don't like to be away from him, he also doesn't like to be away from you. For even a moment. And is always ready and excited to see you, see his devotees. So that is Mahardava Guna. And finally, for those Bhaktajana who want to attain Bhagavan, सौलभ्य गुण का अनुसंधान वो करते हैं. भगवान भगवत दर्शन करने के लिए उत्सुक साधक के अनुसंधान हेतु सौलभ्य गुण उपयोगी होता है. सौलभ्य गुण, हमें भगवान को प्राप्त करना है, हम भगवान के हैं. सौलभ्य गुण का अनुसंधान, सौलभ्य गुण का चिंतन करना चाहिए. One shouldn't be disheartened that great yogis have achieved him and can achieve him, but I am no yogi. I am no great acharya. I am nobody. How will I attain? You shouldn't be disheartened. Because भगवान उन दिव्य योगियों के लिए भी दुर्लभ होते हैं. भरत ऋषि को कितनी बार जन्म लेना पड़ा. ऐसे ऋषियों के लिए भी दुर्लभ. भरत राजा था, भारती, उनके लिए दुर्लभ है. पर even the remotest of places, Bhagavan will land up there and become sulabh for them. So multiple stories. There are a number of folklores in Puri, Jagannath Puri. Bhagavan has taken care of multiple devotees. So many stories we know. So जिनके लिए दुर्लभ है भगवान, उनके लिए भी सुलभ हो जाते हैं. So don't worry, don't think that इनके लिए only these people can attain. Who are we? No, don't be disheartened. भगवान के लिए यह गुण हमारे लिए भी उपयोगी है. So over and above, we captured the different qualities of human beings, from the devious to the happy, to the one who wants to attain him, to the person who doesn't know about him. Various temperaments. It covers basically 99.999% of the people with this temperament. And he is attainable for them. Of course, he is attainable for everyone, but we are trying to group everyone. So we are trying to bring everyone together. See. So in that light, I think that is a good place to stop. Otherwise, the next part of this, now from the gunas, we are slowly moving into the what I call more on the Vedanta side, more on the Tarka, the debate, what you call debate, Tarka. Because this is a Tarka Shastra actually. You should actually question and say, no, you're wrong. Tarka Shastra this is, but it's good. It's that I think this one time you should just let it go through. When we have discussion, we should have discussion sometimes on specific things. You should give topic. You should give reasons as to why this is not true. And so when you discuss it, it becomes it solidifies within you that for this, and so reason this actually is true. You see. So with that, we'll call it an evening. I think it's evening for you. It's night for me. I'll try and put this. I've recorded this slightly better. I'll put the last one as well. I just haven't had time. Lokacharyaya Gurave Krishna Padasya Sunave Sansara Bhogi Sandrashta Jiva Jivatave Namaha Narayana Paraveda Deva Narayanangaja Narayana Paraloka Narayana Paramakha Narayana Paro Yogo Narayana Parantapa Narayana Param Jnanam Narayana Paragati. Jai Shriman Narayana.